Hey there you guys, it's me Crystal, and today I kind of want to talk about juggling multiple writing projects at once. So one of the things I did most of last year was I would do some editing, and then I would do some drafting, and then I would do some editing, and then some drafting, and I did that over and over and over again. And also kind of interspersed between all the editing and the drafting, I was also doing some brainstorming and outlining and note-taking. Before last year, I always considered myself to be a one project at a time kind of person, and that remains to be true. I am a one project at a time kind of person, and it's not that I can't juggle projects, it's that I hate juggling projects. The benefit of, working on multiple projects at a time is that you always have something to work on. And the downside is that you always have something to work on, and so you kind of never get like a creative break. And one of the things I used to do is I would draft something and then take a break and then edit it and then take a break and then edit it again. But somehow I got it in my head that if I took a break, then I wouldn't get as many stories done in a year. So one of the things I want to try to do this year is to prove to myself that I can get just as much work done without driving myself crazy. The thing I noticed with going back and forth between projects is that my brain kind of just felt jerked around, not just between stories, but also between it takes a different kind of focus and different energy to draft than it does to edit. And so I was constantly changing hats. I consider editing to be the more relaxing stage of writing, and drafting to be the more chaotic stage. So I was constantly going from a state of kind of relaxation and fixing to a state of drafting where I want to be not editing. And I probably mentioned in another video, but I do edit a lot while I write. It's just how I write. But I don't really want my editing head on while I'm drafting, because then I have a tendency to attack everything that I'm writing, and it just makes writing not so fun. So when I first started flip-flopping projects, I did it because I wanted something productive to do while my book was with a beta reader and then while it was with the editor, and because I didn't want to just sit there and do nothing. And because I can brainstorm and edit at the same time and outline and edit at the same time in Treat fashion, I was like, how hard can it be to draft a story and edit one at the same time? Honestly, I don't know how other people do it. I hated it. And when I first started feeling kind of burnt out from it, I was like, oh no, it's okay. This is new territory for you. You'll get used to it. And then I got to about August, and I realized I was really starting to burn out. And I was like, why do I have to force myself to get used to it? I don't like doing it. I don't want to do it anymore. And so I was like, when I'm done editing Winter Siren, I'm going to work on just one project for the rest of the year, and that's it. And I'm not going to start drafting my next story no matter how bad I want to. And I think that would be better for my creative energy, because I finished the first draft of Whisper in October, and I was I literally had to give myself a pep talk every single day. I was talking to my brain, and I'm just okay, I know you're tired, and I'm tired, but I'm can I just get 5 more days, and then I promise I will give you a break. And surprisingly, my brain did cooperate with me, and I did get the story done. And then when I read over it, I was it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And of course, I did give myself the entire month of November to not really do anything except for some light brainstorming and outlining. And even then, it still took me almost 2 months to feel like writing again. And I think the reason why it did take a little bit longer was because I had burnt myself out, because I was putting so much pressure on myself to start editing Whisper and getting that to the proofreader. And I probably mentioned this before, I am a fast writer. I write fast, I edit faster. And so I really didn't have anything to worry about or anything to pressure myself about. So yeah, so I used to think that once I started publishing books, that I would start juggling projects, and then I would get used to it, and I would love it, and I would think to myself, oh, I can't believe you ever thought you couldn't write 3 or 4 projects at a time. Yeah, so since I spent January of last year to September juggling projects and hating it and not getting used to it and burning myself out, I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to work on one thing at a time. And if that project is on a break, or it's with an editor or a beta reader or whatever, and I don't have anything to outline or brainstorm, then I'm like, you know what, this is what Netflix binges are for. This is what Hulu binges are for. This is what playing video games is for. You know, this is what, you know, having an all-day readathon is for. I did a all-day readathon in October, and I think that's the only reason why I was able to finish Whisper without my brain leaking out of my ears. Honestly, that was a really good day, and I need to do that more often, because I'm starting to realize I really don't have to be writing all the time in order to get stuff done. I know there's all this writing advice out there that tells people that they need to write every single day. I've never subscribed to that. I'm like, if I need to write every single day, then I'm just not going to write, because then I'll just be burnt out all the time. And the bad thing about being burnt out is that it makes you not want to write anymore. And when writing is your favorite thing in the world and now you don't want to do it because you're burnt out, then you get really depressed. And it's just not fun being depressed. So I'm going to go back to my old ways where I work on one project at a time, and then the only time I entertain another idea is when I'm editing or when I'm on a break. Because honestly, if it's not broke, then don't mess with it. I remember there was a NaNoWriMo pep talk one year, and I think it was by Veronica Roth, and she was saying that, you know, if you always outline something, try pantsing it. If you always pant something, try outlining. And I know she was trying to, like, help people, I guess, like, sometimes people are overwhelmed by the thought that they're writing the book, or they get really stuck in their process. And her pep talk was meant to encourage people, you know, to shake things up. And if you feel stuck, you know, try something new. And that's good advice, but it wasn't really good advice for me, because I have a process and it does work for me, and I just need to stick with it. And of course, my process doesn't mean that I approach every single story the exact same way, because my process in general is that I approach a story the way it needs to be approached. If I need to start with a full-grown outline, then I'll do that. If I need to start by pantsing, I'll do that. If I need to start with what I call my typical thing, where I'm kind of writing my outline up as I go, then I'll do that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to do any new things with my writing. I'm not going to try to juggle projects. I'm not going to try, you know, pantsing an entire story. I'm not going to do anything wildly different than what I normally do. So I kind of wanted to document this to see if approaching my writing in a more relaxed way made a difference. I did write 3 books last year, but I didn't edit all 3 of those books because I'm pretty much going to have to rewrite the Puppet Box from scratch. I didn't have a goal to write 3 books last year. I think my goal was to write 2. I have a similar goal for this year, although again I'm trying not to put any pressure on myself, so if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But yeah, so we'll see if having a non-juggling year makes a difference, and see if I don't burn myself out, because I don't normally burn myself out. Check out the links in the description if you want, thumbs up if you want, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.